introduce myself. I'm Professor Smita Mangesh Junnarkar. Student, hope you have already visited my previous videos. Today I'm going to start with imperative programming practical. So let's begin with your practical. Now over here we are going to see the program. First program is your basic programs. Under this we are going to see to display the simple message that is a hello world. Next program to declare some variables types such as integer, float and double. So we will assign the values to them and it get display particular values. Next program is about arithmetic operator such as addition, subtraction, multiplication and division of two numbers. Now next move further, that is the second part of my program on variables. So over here we are going to see the program to swap two numbers without using third variable. Next program in this, to write a program to find out the area of rectangle, square and circle. Third one, that is to find out the volume of cube, sphere and cylinder. Now let's move further, that is the third assignment, conditional statement and loop. Students, over here we are going to see the basic loop and the programs are: write a program to enter the number from user and display the month name, and if the number is greater than 30 then it display invalid input by using the switch case. Next program in this basic conditional statement is to write a program to check whether the number is even or odd. Third program is to check whether the number is positive, negative or zero. Fourth program to find out the factorial of number. Next program to check whether the entire number is prime or not. And the last program within this, that is to find out the largest of three numbers. Students, you can see over here there are other programs also, such as advanced conditional statement by using the loop, program patterns, function, recursive function, array, pointer, structure and union. But these programs I'm going to continue in my new video. So today we are going to see about three programs, that is a first three assignments. First of all, we should install the Turbo C application in your machine. So how to install, that points already have given in step by step. First of all, you have to download the Turbo C++ for Windows. So the step 1, that is locate the tc.exe file and open it. So you will find the location, that is the C:/tc bin. Step 2, you have to click on the file menu and click on new option so that we can write our program. Student, you can see like this way you will get the screen, and over here you have to type entire program. Now saving procedure, by default the extension is over here C++, and our program is imperative programming, that is a C. So without forget you have to give the extension .c. You can see over here I have given hello world.c extension to my file. Once you have put the extension, press OK button. Now after typing your program and saving procedure, you have to compile it and run it. Compile is nothing but to check out whether there is any kind of errors or not. Once you are getting zero compiler, that is a zero errors, you can easily run your programs. So to compile the program, either you can use the shortcut option, that is a Alt F9, or you can click on the compile and over here you will get the compile option. Through this also you can compile your program. After compiling, you have to run your program. Either you can click on run button or you can use shortcut key, that is a Ctrl F9 to see the output. So students, let's start with first program, that is write a program to display hello world. So over here I am using hash include stdio.h. Now this is my C program, so that's why I am putting my header file, that is a stdio.h. stdio.h is nothing but it's a header file, or you can call it as a library file. This file is providing us two functions. One is output and second one is an input. To see the output, we required printf function. You can see over here within this my program I have used printf function. So with the help of this function, I will get my output. And if you want, user supposed to enter the values within the program, we will use scanf function. So that we will see in next program. Second one, that is a conio.h header file. This is providing me two functions. One is clear screen, to clear the previous output and it get display the fresh output. Next function get provided by conio.h, that is a getch, that is nothing but get the character. Means with the help of this easily we can see able to see the output. Conio means configuration input output. Okay student, hash include is nothing but it's a preprocessor directivity. Now every program will execute through main function. That's why over here I am putting void main function. So with the help of this main function, my program get executed. Now void is nothing but it's a data type and it is returning me 0 bytes. That's why over here I am using void statement. If you are using some another data type such as integer, float, double, char, so in that case you have to mention return 0 statement. So choice is yours. Either you can mention void or any other data type. Once you will type your program, you have to compile it and you have to run your program. So you will get such kind of output. Now we will move towards the next program, that is the next practical part, to declare the variables values such as integer, float and double. Let's see. Over here, every program you have to use header files. First header file is stdio.h because through this we are entering the input as well as we will get the output. Now next header file, that is a conio.h. This is optional. If you are running your output in Windows, so no need to put this header file, but your platform is a DOS, so you require this conio.h header file. After that, main function is there. Now clear screen, already I have told you, through clear screen previous output get cleared and we will get the fresh output. Means whichever program currently you are running, that output get displayed over here. Now our program is to declare some variables of types integer, float and double. So int is nothing but my integer value. This is my data type. A is a variable and over here we are assigning the value for my integer variable, that is a variable. So a variable is holding value 10. Next my data type is a float. Float is nothing but decimal numbers. Students, within the integer 0 to 9 numbers get stored and the byte size is 2. Within the float, byte size is 4 and within the double, byte size is 8. Now over here we are assigning the variable b and we are declaring the value 23.3, that is my decimal value. Double, that is a variable, get assigned c and this is my value. Now to view the output, we are using over here printf statement and through printf statement that value get displayed. Now my program is a C program, that's why over here I have to use the prototype. If we are using the integer variable, then my prototype is supposed to be D. If you are using the float variable, your prototype is supposed to be F. If you are using double, then prototype is supposed to be LF, that is a long float. Okay. If you are using the character, then your prototype will become C. And if you are using the string, that is nothing but the entire string if you want to print, so your prototype become S. So once you are declaring this, you have to compile your program and run your program. To compile the program, we have to press Alt F9, and once you are getting the 0 errors, you can run your program with the help of Control F9, and you can get like this way output. Now I will move towards the next practical part, that is arithmetic operations. Now over here we are using different types of variables, that is a, b, sum, then next one is a subtraction, multiplication and division. So these are the different variables, and all the variables are holding integer data type. Now a and b variable I have put to enter the value for your addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So two numbers we have to use, that's why two variable I have introduced over here, and for inputting scanf function get used over here. My data types were there integer, that's why my prototypes %d, and ampersand signs is nothing but allowing user to enter the value for a variable and b variable over here. Okay. Once you have mentioned your input and output function, you have to do the process part. Students, you can see these are nothing but my initialization process. Over here I am initializing the different types of values, and now I am doing my process part. Process means what? Over here, whichever value entered by user for a and b variable, that answer I want to store within these variables. So like that way this process will become mentioned. So a plus b, and the value gets stored within the sum variable. Whichever variable is holding the value, it's supposed to come on the left hand side. So you can see over here, like this way I have mentioned all the variables on the left hand side, those who are holding the answer. This is my process part. Now after that I want to print the output. That's why again we are mentioning the printf function. This statement will display as it is. /n is nothing but that statement will come on the next line, and over here prototype d, because my variables are integer type, and the variable those who are holding the values, that variables I have mentioned within my printf statement, so that it get print the output for me. You can see over here, enter the value of a means through scanf function allowing user to enter the value for a variable and b variable. As soon as user will enter the value, it get process that data with the help of this part, and output part will display the output for me. Now I will move towards the next practical part, that is programs on variables. Over here we are going to see how two variables will swap their values without using the third variable. Same procedure students, whenever we will start with our program, first of all we have to introduce or initialize the variable. After that we have to do the procedure part, that is processing your data, and final one is your output section. So like this way we are going to do every time. So whenever we will start with our program, every program will begin with your header files and main function, and opening and closing curly braces are nothing but the parenthesis of main function, and within that we have to type entire program. Now let's start with our program. Over here we require two numbers so that these variables will swap their value. So I am introducing over here a and b variable. So over here, to allowing user to enter the value for a and b variable, scanf function get used. So over here printf statement. So this statement will print as it is. You can see over here within the output part, enter the value for A. And with the help of scanf function, user will enter the value for A variable as well as for B variable. Once they will enter the value, we want to process it. Now, this is my processing part. This statement will print as it is, that is a number before swapping. We want to print A and B variable value which are entered by user. So you can see over here these values which are entered by user. Now within these prototypes I have used /t. /t is nothing but the tab. So through this we will easily get the columns. Of course student, over here you won't get the table borders, but table wise structure we can create. That is a /n, that it will come on the next line, and /t means columns. Okay. Now we have to apply over here process. How basically two variable will swap their value. Let's assume I am entering the value for A variable 1 and 2 number for variable 2. So 2 plus 1 equal to 3. So 3 number gets stored within the A variable. So over here within the next statement 3 minus 2. So 1 will come and that value get assigned to B variable. Now over here same procedure, that is A variable is holding value 3. So 3 minus 2 become A. So A variable is holding value 1. So like that way we are applying the process over here, and we want to print this after swapping value. That's why this next statement is there. So this is my output. Now I will move towards the next practical part, that is write a program to find out the area of rectangle, square and circle. Now over here we want to find out the area of rectangle. So that's why I'm using over here float variable L, B, A, R and S. L is nothing but it is a representing my length. B is representing my breadth of rectangle. R is for over here within the R variable I will put the formula, that is the area of rectangle formula, that is L multiplied by B. S is nothing but S equal to A multiplied by A. So with the help of this I will get the area of circle. And after that next variable is their pi. So pi formula I hope everyone is aware, that is a 3.14. Capital A is representing area of my circle and R is for my radius. So let's start with my program. After initializing the variable, we will mention the printf statement. Over here, user will get the idea. They supposed to enter the length as well as breadth of the circle. And for that, we are using two variables, that is a L and B variable. So accordingly, I am putting that two variable within my scanf function and my prototype is float. Next variable we are using, that is a variable. So through this variable user will enter the sides of square, and this statement, next statement is there, enter the radius of circle. So to enter the radius of circle, R variable we have used over here. After that we have to process that data. So process part is over here. R equal to L multiplied by B. So with the help of this, I will get the area of rectangle. Next formula we are using area of square. And after that last formula which is representing my area of circle. After processing this data, we want to print the output. That's why we are mentioning over here printf statement. And through printf statement, I will get my output. Student, you can see this output box, so you will get the idea. Over here user is entering the values and once user will enter the value for rectangle, square and circle, it will process this data according to the formula which you have mentioned within your program, and you will get your respective output. Now we will move further, that is write a program to find out volume of cube, sphere and cylinder. Now over here, same procedure, we are using the header file, main function, my clear screen, so that it will clear my previous output. Now over here we are using the float data type and variables are C, S, A. One more variables we are using A, R1, R2, H and pi. Pi formula we have to mention over here, that is a 3.14. Now the program is about to find the volume of cube. That's why we have to enter the cube value and we are assigning the variable A. So through this A variable, user can enter the age of cube. Next variable, that is a R1 variable. Through R1 variable, user can enter the radius of sphere. And next formula, that is height as well as radius for cylinder. So two variables over here I am using within my scanf. Once you are initializing your variables, we have to use the process. So these are my formulas to get my volumes of cube, volume of sphere and volume of cylinder. And once you are processing your data, we have to mention the output function. That is a printf, volume of cube, volume of sphere and volume of cylinder. And accordingly, I will get my answer. Now, we will move further. That is next practical part, practical third, that is about basic loops. Over here, we are going to see allowing user to enter the numbers, and once the user will enter the number in between 1 to 12, it get display the month name, and if user is entering some other name, so if that number is greater than 12, so it should get display the switch case. Now let's see the program. Over here we are assigning the variable, that is a n variable, and through scanf function user is entering the value for n variable, that is a number in between 1 to 12. Now this number gets stored within the switch case, so that with the help of this, whichever number user is entering, switch will pass this number to according to the cases. So over here you can see total 12 cases I have used. First case, if user will enter number 1 in this n variable, so it get printed January month. Over here I am using break statement. Break is nothing but it will break that loop over there. So with the help of this, rest of the cases it won't get interfere. So they won't get printed. So it will just print case 1 and it get my loop get terminated over there. Getting it? So like that way, whichever number user will enter within this n variable, accordingly it will print that printf statement. But suppose if user is entering some other number rather than 12, so I don't want it to get stop over here. That's why I have used over here default statement. So within the default, my printf statement is there invalid number. So if some other number rather than 12, that is a greater than 12, so it will print invalid input. And this, like this way we are closing our switch parenthesis, and last one is my main parenthesis. So you can see over here output. Over here I am entering number 12. So 12. So case 12 is representing statement December. So it is printing over here December. If I will enter some other number which are greater than 12, so it will print my invalid input. So this is a simple switch case. So this is a loop. Through this loop, my program get executed. And to break that loop, we require break statement. Now let's move towards the next practical part, that is write a program to check whether the number is even and odd. Now to find out the even number means we have to divide that number by 2, and if the remainder is coming 0, it indicates the number is even, and if we are getting any remainder, so that become my odd number. So same process we have to use over here. Let's see our program. Through scanf, allowing user to enter the value for n variable. Now if statement we are using, if whichever number user is entering mod 2, means if we are dividing that number 2 and equality to 0, means remainder if I am getting 0, means fully that number get divided by 2. So it get printed this statement, that is a number is even, and if I will get the any remainder, it get printed else statement, that is number is odd. So this is my if else statement which we have used within this program. If is nothing but if your condition is satisfying, it get print if statement, and if your condition is not satisfying, that is if condition is a false, so it print your else statement. So you can see over here within the first output I have entered number 6. So if you will divide number 6 by 2, so of course remainder we will get 0. So that's why it is printing number is even. Next output you can see I have entered the value for n variable 3. So if you will divide number 3 by 2, so you will get the remainder, that is a 1. So that's why it is printing the number is odd. Now I will move further, that is my next program, to check whether the number is positive, negative or 0. Now how we will get the positive number? If that number is greater than 0, so that means that number is a positive, else that number become my negative number. So these conditions we have to apply with the help of simple if else statement. So let's have a glance within this program. I am putting my both the header files as well as my main function, clear screen statement to clear my previous records, and over here I am introducing the variable, that is n. This is called as an initialization of variable. N variable we are initializing. Now printf statement, this statement will print as it is on my output part, and over here within this scanf I am using prototype D because my data type is an integer. Through n variable user will enter the value. Now this is my process part, that is my if condition. If my number, whichever number I have entered, if it is a greater than 0, it will print my number is a positive. If this condition is not satisfying, it will jump towards my else part and it will print the number is negative. So over here you can see the output which I am getting. If I will enter number 20, so over here I am entering minus 20. So minus 20 is my negative number, and if I will put 10, so it is printing the 10 is my positive numbers. Now I will move further, that is the fourth program in practical third, to find out the factorial of number. Now over here we are using three variables, I, fact and number. Now you can see over here I am assigning the value for factorial, that is a fact variable 1. Okay, now let's see. Through num variable user is entering the value. After that whichever value user will enter, it gets stored within this for loop. You can see over here within this for loop I equal to 1, means I variable is holding value 1. Next part is my I is less than equal to num. So if number 1 is less than and equality to num, means whichever number user have entered, if it is a equality to num या फिर it is a less than that, So I want to go on incrementing it. And within my for loop, I want to process factorial multiply by I. Means it will increment it till I is holding number value. That is a num variable value. Means for example, if I am entering the value 6 for num variable. So of course number 6 is a less than 1. So this loop will continue till I is holding value 6. And this value gets stored within this I variable. Okay. And this is multiplying with factorial value 1. Means 6 will multiply by 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1, like that way. So like this way it get processed with the help of this part. And then finally my output function is there, that is a printf. I want to print num variable as well as factorial also. So you can see over here I am entering over here value 6 and I am getting the factorial of number 6. That is the 6 is multiplying over here 6 multiplied by 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. And accordingly I am getting the output, that is a 720. Next one, that is write a program to check whether the entered number is prime or not. Prime numbers are nothing but the number those are divided by itself. Those numbers we are calling it as a prime number. So accordingly we have to use the process over here. Students, you can see over here I am using the values n, I, m equal to 0, flag equal to 0. Any variable you can assign for your programs. So choice is yours. Now over here printf statement is there through which user can enter the number for n variable. That number get divided by 2 and the value will become stored within m variable, which is on my left hand side. Now that value gets stored within this for loop. Now within the for loop I is equal to 2. Means I variable is holding value 2. Now if that number 2 is less than an equality to number, whichever number user have entered and it get divided by 2. So that answer, if it is equality to that, it get go on incrementing it. If that number get divided by that equality to 0, so it will print it's not the prime number. And over here it get break that. So my flag is assigning value 1. But if it is a equality to 0, so it become my prime numbers. So you can see over here I am entering number 9. So the 9 number is not my prime number because it is not divided by itself. 9 number can be divided by 3 also. Am I right? Even within 9 also 9 get divided. But 3 is my prime number because it's only divided by itself. So this is a formula which we have used. This is my process part. And through that I will get the whether my entered number is prime or not. Now next program, that is to find out the largest of 3 numbers. So over here we are not using any logical operator. So without logical operator we have to execute this program. That's why we are using multiple if conditions. So that is also called as a nested if. So with the help of nested if we are executing this program. So let's see. We have to find out the largest among 3 numbers. So over here I am introducing 3 variables, and for 3 variables user can enter the value. Now if condition, if A is greater than B, as well as we want to check A is a greater than C. Student, once again I am repeating, over here we are not using any logical operator. That's why multiple if conditions we have to use. This is also called as a nested if. And if this process is finding A is greater than B as well as C, so it will print my A number is the largest number. Otherwise, If this condition is not satisfying, it will jump towards my else part. That is, over here, C is my largest number. And next part, that is else if B is greater than C. If B is holding value larger compared to C, so it will print B is the largest. So these are the conditions which we have given over here. Within your program, you can give multiple else if conditions according to your requirement. But within your program, one if and one else must be there. Means if your condition is not as satisfying, so at least it will execute your else part. Okay, and else if could be your multiple times you can mention according to your requirement. And finally my else statement, that is my C is the largest. So you can see over here, within the if statement, it will check whether the A is greater or not. Within the else if, it will see whether my B is greater, and if both the conditions are not satisfying, then it will print my third part, that is my else part, that is C is the largest. You can see over here the output. I have entered 3 different values and accordingly I am getting the output. Thank you students. I hope these all 3 assignments is clear to you. This video will be continued. To watch my next video, you have to click on below link. Thank you student. Thank you so much.